Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and today we have a video courtesy of Oldschool Gaming from YouTube. I'll just link his channel below. He's been a long time watcher, so you can go check out what he does. But he's sailing the tier 8 Japanese destroyer, the Akizuki, and has done something unique. He's got Yamamoto in this ship, the unlockable through campaigns special Japanese captain that comes with a couple little bonuses. The first of which, if you get a first blood, you get extra consumables, and the second is those games you do manage a Kraken, you get a massive heal and boost to reload. Now, I've seen this captain mostly used on ships like the Yamato, even the Zhao. Cruisers and battleships, I think, greatly benefit from it, but there is a place for him on the Akizuki, and we're going to see that come into full effect on this one. Two brothers, domination mode, and as you can see, it's a tier 10 game, so he's definitely a small ship sailing amongst some much more powerful ones. That said, the Akizuki, there's plenty of people who know the absolute monster this thing can be. Smoke, speed boost, torpedo reload booster. It's an absolute machine gun, which can be so bloody annoying when it's just sitting in a smoke shooting at you, particularly if you're in a battleship. It's not going to get a lot of damage firing its guns, but the fires can add up, and just the number of torpedoes it can send your way. So off the start, he's obviously headed towards D, Z52 alongside him, Rune, Kurfürst, and Alsace following up. This is a good enough chunk of the team to really be able to hold this flank for a decent period of time, but you can look at the map, most of the team has gone to A. So really those guys at A need to carry their weight. Now so far the enemy team looks to be splitting up similarly, which is kind of unique. Normally both teams seem to push one direction. Now the enemy Shimakaze makes a bit of a mistake and just tries to sit in the cap, and I only say it's a bit of a mistake because I don't feel that's the best place for a Shima to be. That said, there's another Shima that gets spotted, and well, the torpedo soup is about to begin. You can see those special tracers indicating Yamamoto as the captain, and getting the first blood can be tricky, and I definitely say it's harder to do in something like the Akizuki, short of a torpedo or a destroyer really charging in on you and letting you just consistently do damage, but it is a torpedo that gets the Shima. So there's first blood. You can see every one of those charges just got an extra one, and that goes a long way because it doesn't look like Old School runs Superintendent. He only had 3 of each consumable. And while this Yakumo, it's kind of screwed. It got in close, and that friendly Z52 using Hydro is keeping them detected. And they come so close to getting them. You can see with this rate of fire, definitely willing to take a couple more shots. But you have to be careful. You're sitting in a smoke. We all know the kind of magnets they can be. So Old School gets moving, well, as fast as he can with that broken engine, and starts figuring out what he's going to do. Things so far, pretty even exchange. They got a destroyer, one of the enemy battleships, but 2 of the friendly ships have been lost on the other side. And the thing I would worry about on that other side is the ships they lost weren't destroyers, they were big heavy hitters. Now the plus side to that, it's still going to be hard for the remaining ships over here to push in easily with that many DDs. The downside, if you don't hit torps, it doesn't work that great, and a lot of destroyers kind of relies on luck. We even came across that in clan battles the other night, a team running 7 destroyers. And we lost a couple ships, but we just systematically pushed them off the map, and that's something you can do to a destroyer. You just advance towards them, get your hydros up, play smart, don't sail in straight lines, and destroyers don't have that staying power. And it really comes down to you just being intelligent about how you're maneuvering to avoid eating any big torp volleys. Now you can see here, Old School definitely trying to figure out, how do I advance? Ideally he wants to get close to these bigger battleships, throw some torps their way. but there's still a Shima and a very low health Yugumo to contend with. Hindi out on the flank. There's enough here that could spot him that he has to be cautious. So it looks like he's just kind of heading in a straight line to try to get a little ahead of these BBs, but with the island there, might not go great. So throws down his torps at the Hindi. Maybe you get a lucky strike, maybe you don't. Yugumo was spotted for a moment, and if this was me, I would be diving in. I play my destroyers quite aggressively, and low health Yugumo, get rid of a ship, dodge shells for a few seconds, then you're dark. That Hindi doesn't look to be getting close enough for these torpedoes to be a threat. Little unfortunate, but does pick up a kill on an enemy Shima. Having killed both of them now, and that definitely a bit of luck there. I don't think he expected that the Shima was there. You can see him typing in chat that was the case. But you love when that happens, and that, I guess, is an advantage, or something sometimes just happens in destroyers. And being the Shima, I can guarantee he's pissed off. But it's never the torpedoes you expect that kill you. It's the ones that make no sense to be there. That's why it's like, shoot at edges of land, it might work, or just throw torps out in the open if you've got them and don't have a foreseeable target in the future. So with 2 kills, well, things aren't looking good for the rest of the team. They're definitely starting to melt on the outside. That Benson and Yuyang really pushing down the flank, and that's going to be bad for the friendly Shimakaze over here, even worse for the Hindi, because there's a lot of ships there and they all got pushed in, and it doesn't leave a ton of Old School's team. The Yugumo shooting its guns, Old School is definitely going for the kill on him. So that brings him up to 3, and getting that 4th just makes you such a dangerous ship. And there it is. And a big part of what will go a long way for Old School here is if he can get that Kraken, just the raw hit point gain that it'll give him. He's lost a good chunk of his health. He's definitely not down and out, but he could be in a better position. This enemy Missouri poses a big threat. One of the battleships, or the only battleship, with a radar. And that's kind of one of her major strengths over a lot of other the Tier 9 battleships, is just that ability to hunt destroyers. So Old School opens enough of a gap, 9.5 kilometers, then the radar is no longer going to be effective, and you can see the Missouri turns away, I think feeling the pressure of torps. Meanwhile, the friendly Z-52 maybe getting a little too aggressive. Just in regards to that Missouri, there's some ships around that can hit him from a lot of different directions. That's something I'm always thinking of when I'm in a destroyer. If you want to get aggressive and it's against one target, that's fine because you can always turn away. But when you start to have ships, kind of every bearing from you, it can put you in a tough spot. And you can see here, Old School's been able to blind fire a lot of the time until that Ibuki momentarily cleared land and he got shots there. And lit a couple fires on that Missouri, so just keeps peppering with HE. Little bits of damage piling on, but really looking for that fire. That's what you want when you're shooting a ship. Looks like the friendly Zed gets a fire, and that actually really hurts Old School's chances, because once there's a fire in the area, you can no longer hit there, so you've got to try to light a fire somewhere else on the ship. And the shells just aren't hitting the right spots, but the damage is still adding up. It's not a ton, it's not like a cruiser or a minnow, but 500-600 shot damage a volley, it will tick him away. Unfortunately, it looks like the Missouri is going to disappear behind the edge of land, but before he can, Old School lights a fire, which means pretty much 50-50 chance now this kill is his. 1 or 2 more ticks, and it's Old School's. That's 4 kills, 1 more, and he gets that Kraken boost. And things have pulled a lot more even now. You can see these guys over here done a good job. They lost the friendly BB in the Alsace, but the Qckslvrslash rune they managed to take out that Hindi, and they've pushed forward, and the enemy team is really stuck falling back. They also lost one of their destroyers out on the other flank, or at least I think they did, yep. And they've really lost map control. It's going to be hard for them here because they don't have the caps. They've got to get aggressive. Unfortunately, they're doing it completely incorrectly. They're getting aggressive one ship at a time. The first being the Ibuki. It's pushing in. It goes, oh, there's a destroyer in the cap. I'll charge in. I'll get rid of them. And that's going to leave them really exposed to this Kurfürst and Rune. Meanwhile, the battleships, you know, they're trying to focus on this Hindi out here. Help the Hipper out, the Yu Yang, wherever he is. And, well, they do it. They get the kill. Which means, given time, that cap should become theirs. I don't know exactly where the Yu Yang is, but he should be able to slip in, or the Hipper, and start securing caps. Now you can see Z-52 in a spot of trouble here. Ibuki is a ship that can equip Hydro. Don't know if it has it, but the Ibuki is charging in. And you can see Old School ponders it for a second, then opens fire. And he's using AP now, broadside ship, and you can see these shells still getting in. The Japanese cruisers, very thinly armored, so he's getting some consistent damage from the guns, just ticking that health off. And when you reload as fast as this destroyer does, it goes a long way, but it's gonna be the torps that finish him, save the ally. You can see the fireworks. He just got his Kraken and activated that next skill. And just look at the insane rate of fire. The ship is healing up. You know, 2.7 second reload. This thing's a quick gun. But at sub 2 that the Yamamoto gives, it is just a constant stream of shells. And the Yamato is another one where very powerful ship. The reload gets so quick that cruisers just are not ready for it. And this Bismarck makes a mistake, gonna run aground right in front of a machine gun. And he will get a fire eventually here. With this many shells, it doesn't matter if the chance was a 0.5%. Given enough time, he will light a fire. And you can see, it doesn't matter that he can't see the Bismarck. It's a big slow battleship caught backing up. Manages to land a bunch more shells. The heal just about finished, bringing him back up above that kind of 3/4 mark. And this game is feeling a little better. The Z-52, it's dead. They've got a good point lead here, 890. They've got 2 of the caps, though reasonably you might be expecting that Yu Yang or Hipper to be heading for B. You can see the Kurfürst kind of starting to kite away. He's not on the greatest of health. The Rune just sitting behind the island. I think they decided the best way for them to win is to play passive. And a good chunk of that's going to be Old School here, just slipping into the cap, going dark, taking the cap, and either forcing the Bismarck or Tirpitz to charge in at him, which gives him a chance to lay some torpedoes in, or he gets a cap. And it looks like they're going to charge in. The final torpedo reload booster just about on cooldown, and he fires those torpedoes at the Tirpitz. I can guarantee you he switched to see the lead before doing so. The reload is up, and in a sense this could work really well. You know, when the torps get close to that Tirpitz, the Bismarck might get a little overconfident going, you know what, I'm able to charge in. But with him having allowed about 1/3 of that reload on the torps, he's probably not going to use the booster just yet. It's something you really want to activate, you know, right when you just fired torpedoes to get the max, you know, benefit out of that refresh. And while he tries to stay in the cap long enough to take it, just doesn't look like it's going to happen. Though the Bismarck may be a split second late, he is. So it gives them the cap. Means he can leave now and the enemy team isn't instantly gaining points. But the Bismarck, the Tirpitz, they're charging in. 25 seconds now. He's got more torpedoes on reload, and it'll be a second volley immediately after that. His final smoke is up. Just going to let him sit and shoot. The problem is he has no allied spotting. And that really hurts you on the smoke front. It's a useless skill if you don't have friendly spotting. Now you can see the Rune over the back, shooting from the edge of the island. I'd be really worried that that rune backs up and just doesn't have the acceleration, but he does tuck in. And really, it's torpedo time. They should win this. The Qckslvrslash is in the decap, so they can't take it, but they need the points to tick up. One set of torps is off, and I think right now Old School is waiting to watch the Bismarck react to those, to really commit the rudder before firing them. It's hard to say though. This game gonna be over in just a couple seconds, assuming they don't get into the cap. First set of torpedoes sailing past that Bismarck. One more tick and this is over. And there's the Yu Yang. He is not in the cap, which means this is gonna be a win. And with a game like that, big payout, 551,000 credits, 5,000 XP, 2 dev strikes, the Kraken, first blood, maximizing the use of Yamamoto as a captain, 132,000 damage, just a crap ton of gun shells, a few torps here and there, 2 knocking out a very dangerous destroyer, and I can guarantee you the Qckslvrslash that was coming along that flank felt a lot safer with no Shimikazes there. And all told, the 5 kills for that Kraken and a couple caps to help it out. And when you have a game like that, it just feels amazing. And they don't happen every game. And so when you do get it, it just makes the experience that much sweeter. And there should be no surprise with it that he's on top of the team here by quite a healthy margin. Racking up 3,325 base experience, and that is a crazy number that has to be up there for total base XP in Akizuki games. And a big part of what did it were the ships that he managed to kill. 2 Shimas at tier 10, and a Buki Missouri at tier 9, and got a bunch of damage onto that Bismarck and a Yugamo at tier 9 as well. And when you're punching above your tier, taking out those heavier targets, you get rewarded for it in the experience bracket. And that can be one of the things to look forward to when you're a tier 8 in a tier 10 game. It's like, go out and just have a great game and you will get the reward. End of the day, took home 374,000 credits and that 5,000 XP. Thank you very much, Old School Gaming, for sending this one in. I enjoyed it very much. It was fun to see the Yamamoto used on something other than a battleship or a cruiser. I've never considered it for a destroyer. I still don't think I'd personally use it, but you got the most out of him in this one. Well done. If you guys enjoyed this, please consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. And as always, I am Qckslvrslash. I'll have another one for you all later.